Welcome to the Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, and if you're not hype for a game that has a name like Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, then there is something sorely wrong with you. I mean, he's going to go on adventures that are incredible, while wearing a hat that looks like this, and he has a ghost! Are you excited? I'm excited. I'm just going to show off the character thing. You can actually create your character. I love the fact the name default is Abraham. Wonderful little thing. But no, so we are Dave Van Helsing, wearing what appears to be a crappy Davy Crockett hat, which we will instantly fix the moment I get into the game. Let's open up the inventory. Equipped trapper hat. We shall remove it. There we go. Look at that. We are back wearing a much better hat. So, The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing is an ARPG that is brought to you by the wonderful people over at Neocore. If you remember, we actually checked out this game back in August, and a huge thanks to all you guys that have actually watched that video, as it's really popular, it seems. And I'm now going to show off the actual game. So, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to point out this. This is a well. It is an ink well. The ink runs behind the surface of the world, and it enables you to essentially traverse places. It's teleport for all intents and purposes. And you have ink gates that allow you to move from one area to another. It's teleport. They have just used a fancy name for it, and it looks kind of cool. Well, I was going to, like, pick up some quests, but apparently this quest is going to teleport us somewhere. Repent, the end is nigh. Alright, I will pray for you. Before I leave the church, I'm going to... You can keep rambling, I'm going to check stuff out. That cool with you, Father? Awesome. So, Dave Van Helsing. You have your stats. You have body, dex, willpower, luck, HP, mana, rage. Oh god, the creatures are coming. Apparently I'm not going to get to do that. You can use melee or ranged, and you can also use magic. You have resistances. You have detailed stats, as you can see there. You also have detailed info on all your stuff, like your gold bonuses and magic item chance. You'll see that I've put everything into luck, because I don't really care about how my damage is, as long as I'm getting cool stuff to loot on the way. Ow. So, the end is nigh. Ah! The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing sees us returning to Borgovian to go and fix everything. Oh, what? Mana drain? Eye for an eye and mana drain. That's not going to be a fun ability. Let's just see if we frag ourselves. No. Oh god, more creatures! Well, one of them has some sort of aura. This is not good. I'm guessing this eye for an eye thing is like, it will actually deal damage to me. This is a lot of creatures. I'm just going to have to kite this. And occasionally spam a magic spell. And one of these things says teleport. Making things horrifyingly more complicated. So, The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing allows you to play as both ranged and melee. As you see, I'm focusing on ranged at the moment, wielding a wonderful rifle while kiting these things down. I could switch over to melee if I wanted to. Going to pick up all the loot. You can have both equipped, and you can shift between them. You also have trophies. You have your hats, your amulets, your rings, capes, chest, boots. And you'll see that I got caplock revolvers, which have 2 bonus poison damage, 1% crit hit, 6 mana, 3 mana per enemy killed, and 3 luck. But what we are going to do is give this to our trusty ghost companion, Lady Katarina, as she is going to probably end up using those more than I. Actually, we will compare the pistol to the rifle, as it may be a smart idea to change. The reason I haven't changed is because the damage on the repeater is higher, but the attack speed and the poison damage and the extra mana may make it worthwhile. So we'll swap them around like that, and I'll try out these pistols instead of the rifle. Smart idea. So, as I've mentioned the name many times, I'm just going to refer to this now as Van Helsing. Van Helsing enables you to play as ranged or melee or magic using the wonderful skill trees that you see. You don't have to pick a class. Instead, it works as you can pick and choose what you want. So you could play through one time as a Mystic Warrior, which will give you access to things like Cleave and Bash, flowing combos, Earthquake, Ice Blast, and extra things like Parry, Fury, increased hit points. And then your ranged gives you things like extra attack speed. You get poison shots, explosive shots, scatter shots, ice shots, lightning, flaming spheres as magic as well. Because a Cult Hunter contains the magic spells as well. Why? I don't know. Don't ask. Can't tell. You also get tricks and auras, which you'll notice I don't have many of at the moment. I only have the Arcane Healing, which is that wonderful glowy thing on the ground, which I have pretty much nearly maxed because it's really, really strong and helpful. And Rampage, which gives me bonus critical damage while at max rage. And we are going to go and head over here, and I will explain rage a little bit more. So the rage mechanic is the yellow bar that you can see down on the rather terrible UI in the middle of the screen. And Katarina has died again. She seems to die quite frequently when she's beside me. She's more like Casper, the pissed off ghost at this point. But we will survive as best we can. The rage is the little yellow bar that you see either side of my health and mana. And it enables you to do wonderful things like power up your spells, power up your shots, power up your attacks. And if you keep it full, you can just rely on extra bonus damage, which means you're using it less and focusing more on your abilities rather than using it as essentially a one-shot every so often. Da-da-da. And we're off to the next place. No, let's pick up the level belt. There we go. And we will level up. So, you get 5 points, and I'm going to spam them all into luck, giving me a 17% magic find, 34 dodge, also increases crit damage by 34%, and gives me 68% more gold find. And with Katarina as well, that gives me a decent amount of gold find. And we have 3 available skill points that I'm not going to get to put in just yet, as I need to figure out why I'm dying. Mythical, ice damage, harmful sigil. Okay. I can't heal you at the minute. Katarina, stay alive. No, no. Are they dead? Are they all dead? I think we're good. So if you stand in the harmful sigil, you take damage. As I've just found out. Are we clear down here? Yes. Okay, so we can put some points in. We'll stand still. And I will put points in skills. Let us level up. Explosive shot, no. Icicle shot, no. We'll level up Flaming Spear. We'll put a point in Flaming Spear. Spear? Sphere. Sphere. Has a H in it, Dave. And we will also increase rage by 1. And that's our 3 points. Let's test this thing out. Let's go find something to fry. We need to protect the Great Statue, and we need to stop them destroying the South Gate. So we'll head this way first. So on top of the skill system, you also have perks, which I don't think I'm actually going to level up and be able to pick one. But they give you things like the... Wow, that was awesome! The collector one that you see has given me extra inventory, actually. Bam! Oh god, I'm gonna die. Or not, maybe. Stand still, shoot, do stuff. No, quite possibly going to die. Ah, crap, shit. Poop. I think we're good. I think we're good. We're good. Oh, we are actually going to level a perk, so I can close that and show it off in a sec. Convenient timing is convenient. My issue with this game, though, so far, is that it just feels like it's not taking advantage of the opportunities that have been laid out before it. No, there's no point in healing you. You're just going to die ridiculously quick. Let's change back to lightning. Should do it. Take out these Rusalkas. Come on. Pew, pew, pew. Need, like, more AoE. Things seem to come at you in rather large packs and without AoE. Oh, really? Did I not? 4% still. Okay, then... level me.
Monsters never disappear for good.
But you'll be safe for a while, and then it's going to come back, and we are back in Borgovia. And you're still not going to level me up on a perk, you bastard. So perks work as collector. You'll see your hero receives an additional inventory page. Wraith gives Katarina extra damage. Berserker gives you plus 10 damage while at rage. They're essentially passive buffs that you get for your reputation being at a certain point. Reputation is gained by doing certain things throughout the game. You get a second chance, which is you not dying, which is quite handy if you're in hardcore. It only procs once every 3 minutes. And you also get that on top of your skills, tricks, and auras. You have an interesting amount to pick from. But, as I mentioned during the last quest, the game doesn't take advantage, in my opinion, of the opportunities laid out before it. And what I mean by that is, this is not Diablo.
Change your mind about that strange.
It doesn't have to appeal to millions of players. They could make something that's a wonderful little ARPG that really has some interesting mechanics and stuff in it, but it seems to fall back into the line of genericism way too much. It's generic in certain places. For example, the game focuses, as a pro, on story and enabling it to set every area up the way it wants to. What I mean by that is that this isn't randomly generated stuff. Like, the maps aren't going to be completely different every time. Heading into Gallows Bog. See? We are now in Gallows Bog. And then we'll head back out of Gallows Bog. And then we'll head back in very quick. Come on, come on, come on. Da, 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 da. It's always going to look the same. But that enables them to set up the world so they can tell the story. Like, this is a game that isn't just a case of it's a loot grind. It's not essentially a Diablo or Borderlands clone in regards to it's just a case of it's a loot generator and that's all it is. It's trying to tell a story, it's trying to do interesting things. Like, it actually has its mythology set right. Like the Leskovic's Shamblers and the Rusalkas and stuff. That's actually, like, mythology that they have done their research on and found out what they need to find out and then put it into their game. That's great. Wonderful. Awesome. But if you don't have to appeal to millions of players like Diablo, if you don't have to achieve certain things like Borderlands, you know, if you don't set yourself these goals and you're just creating a fun little ARPG, then why not take a risk or two? Why do you feel that you need to fall back onto the safety of genericism? It just, I don't know. That, to me, like, it feels like they could take more chances, and I hope they do with the next one. Like, The Adventures of Van Helsing is set to be a trilogy of games, which I'm okay with this. As if they're trying to tell a story that progresses through all three. That's awesome. That's wonderful. If each one is going to be standalone and is a case of each game has its own little story that's set in it, but there is, like, you know, themes that flow throughout all three, again, that's wonderful. But I really hope that they take what they have learned from this first game and use it to make the second game as great as they possibly can. Like, the sound in this game doesn't really feel that great when it comes to combat. It doesn't sound, you know, nice and meaty when you're swinging swords. It's okay, but it could be a lot better. The music, while setting wonderful moods, like you can hear in the background, when you're in certain areas, it gets really repetitive really quick, and this can cause a problem as well. As while it sounds great to hear this wonderful kind of, you know, interesting old fantasy style music that fits the Van Helsing kind of world and is really, really nice, after listening to it, you know, if you're doing a fight that lasts, say, 5 minutes, if you hear this thing 5 times in those 5 minutes, it's going to really start grating on you. We got them all dead. No. Another one. Come on. Die. There we go. The difficulties do, of course, just increase numbers and make things a little bit tricky. They don't really add any extra depth to the AI or anything like that. But it's good. The game is enjoyable. It's a different step from, like, Diablo or Path of Exile as well. Like, Path of Exile, to me, is a game that is a really great take on an ARPG, and it's a great game to compare something like this to. Path of Exile has ridiculous depth, ridiculous freedom, but really lacks in the story department, in my opinion. It is essentially a loot simulator. It's a wonderful game that you can jump into, and if you really enjoy ARPGs, then Path of Exile is the game for you. But if you want something a bit different, if you're burnt out on the standard style of ARPG, and I know I am after the amount that have come out this year, this is a game that you may find appealing to you because it does things different. It doesn't so much focus on the whole, hey, we've given you a ton of abilities and we've given you all of this wonderful customization and the world is completely bland and boring. It's really a case of the world is what's going to make this game interesting. The features are stepped back a little bit, in my opinion. Like, you could do more with a skill system than what you've got here. You have, like, the leveling up down the side, and just killing these very quick. Come on, die. Die, 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 die. Like, you have, for example, in Occult Hunter, you have your, what do you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... 7 skills, ignoring these 3 passives down the side. 7 skills that you've got here. And each one can be modified in certain ways. Like, you'll notice you've got Quick Draw, or you've got Mana Leech, and all this stuff. And the more points you put in, you'll level up the tree, so your mastery level goes up. And then all skills will be affected by certain things, like Quickness, plus 5% burn speed, minus 10% cooldown. But there's not much to it. Like, you can respec back and forth as you want with an NPC. And there are other things in the game that you have access to, such as, like, the essence capacity that you see on stuff, but that's essentially just a different name for a system that's in this kind of style of game. You have the whole, like, enchanting your weapons or gemming stuff, and this just uses essences instead. It doesn't step out, it doesn't put in something really interesting that kind of makes it pop. But it's still good. It's still interesting. Like, the voice acting is bearable at times. Other times it's really nice. Like, the banter between Katarina and Van Helsing, beautiful. I actually really enjoy it. The start of the game was quite interesting, trying to get into the village and have Van Helsing essentially be turned away. As a Van Helsing as well, it was you in the Van Helsing hat. No, we're not going to allow you in here, you're just going to cause trouble. Katarina steps up and is like, this is my manservant. Wow, those things really hurt. Let's heal. And lightning. No. Oh god. The fact that, like, you don't require identified scrolls or anything to check out your gear as well is a nice change to, like, what we're used to in ARPG of, hey, you have loot, you don't know what it is, go pick up a scroll, go check it. Yeah. There's a lot to like. There are some things to hate as well. So I'm going to say, this is by no means a perfect ARPG. It is by no means the next wonderful telling of an ARPG progression and evolution of genre. It's a game that, if you're after something a little bit different from the norm, you may want to check out. But, personally, I enjoy it. It's a little slow to get going. The skills could use a bit of work, in my opinion, but for a first attempt, I'm happy. And I really hope they, as I said, they take what they're learning from this game and put it into the second one. So, Minion was meant to be here with me for this, and isn't due to connectivity issues in the multiplayer that still exist. And I'm going to mention them now because it's a game that you would play with your friends. So the fact that multiplayer doesn't work fully yet is something that you need to be aware of. But they are fixing it, and there are patches coming out daily to slowly and steadily fix the online issues. So, mileage may vary with online play. Did we level? Yes, we did. And there is DLC to come out, which will add stuff to the multiplayer as well. I'm aware of that one, as I checked and asked what their plans were in regards to replayability. Oh, we'll put points in lightning and stack that up a little bit higher. So there you go. The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, a game that doesn't, in my opinion, fully live up to the name Incredible Adventures, but is a step towards that. I'm hoping that the next game will be even more enjoyable. This one was a solid entry, and that was an interesting name. Gun. Come on. Need more mana? Ah, because I've upgraded the skill, I'm not able to use it as often. Wonderful. But I have to say, I want the hat. I want the Van Helsing hat. I think I'd look good in a Van Helsing hat walking around Gamescom and stuff. So if I suddenly gain one in a video, you know where the influences come from. If you have any questions, queries, or comments about this, please feel free to leave them down below. And if you watched the other Van Helsing video and now you've come to this one, then awesome, thank you. And from myself, and from everyone else at L3, we'll catch you for the next video. Peace.